Well, good evening, everyone, on this chill autumn evening. My name is Richard Waring, and this is the PoemWorks reading series, which has been going on for.
Screen bigger. You got to mess up here.
We have two wonderful feature poets tonight and a couple of open mic. First, I'd like to share a few introductory comments. The poet Matthew Thornburn says, "A poem is a way of stepping into the same river twice." Lewis Hyde writes in The Gift, "An essential portion of an artist's labor is not creation so much as invocation. Part of the work cannot be made, it must be received. And we cannot have this gift except perhaps by supplication, by courting within ourselves that begging bowl to which the gift is drawn." And I've been posting on my Facebook poems of protest, and one that I'm going to be showcasing soon is by Ezra Pound. He writes, "Don't shoot him, don't shoot him, don't shoot the president. Assassins deserve worse, but don't shoot him. Assassination only makes murderers. Don't shoot him, diagnose him, diagnose him."
Wow.
And another very early proponent of protest poetry, Walt Whitman, wrote, "Not songs of loyalty alone are these, but songs of insurrection also. For I am the sworn poet of every dauntless rebel the world over." Well, our first reader, well, actually, this is going to be a dynamic interaction. So I'll read both introductions, and then Sarath and Margot will entwine their poem.
Oh, that's great. She's going to do the entwining.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sarath Reddy has been a member of the PoemWorks community for 15 years. He is a practicing gastroenterologist and director of medical specialties for Mass General Brigham Medical Group South Shore.
Oh, he's someone good to know.
Yeah.
His poetry has appeared in journals including JAMA, The Healing Muse, American Journal of Nursing,
Muted. Is your audio muted?
Patterson Literary Review, West Trade Review, New Plains Review, and Atlanta Review. He is presently completing a full-length poetry manuscript. Margot Wizansky's chapbook, Wild for Life, is a chronicle in poems of her near-death and coma, and was published by the Lily Poetry Review Books in 2022. The Yellow Sweater, a full-length poetry collection, was published by Kelsey Press in 2023, and Random Music in a Small Galaxy in 2025. Her poems have appeared online and in many journals, including the American Journal of Poetry, the Missouri Review, Bellevue Literary Review, Ruminate, River Styx, and Cimarron. She edited the anthologies Mercy of Tides, Poems of the Beach House, and Rough Places Plain, Poems of the Mountains. Margot co-edited What the Poem Knows, a tribute to Barbara Helfgott Hyatt, her teacher, and many of our teachers. She was awarded 2 residencies, one with Writers at Work in Salt Lake City, and one with Carlow University in Sligo, Ireland, at the Isle of Innisfree. Margot has retired from a career developing housing for adults with disability. She lives in Massachusetts. Please welcome Sarath and Margot.
Thank you, Richard. And welcome. It's truly heartwarming to see so many friends gathered for an evening of poetry. It's often been said that poetry is the language of the heart, the ability to convey powerful feelings that transcend time, geography, and culture, and communicate a shared human experience. For tonight's reading, Margot and I thought we'd try a different format, searching for common themes, listening for ways that poems drawn from two different cultural backgrounds and set of life experiences might speak to one another, might resonate with one another. As we embarked on an in-depth reading of each other's poetry, indeed we found numerous poems that shared common themes or evoked similar feelings. So this evening, we'll present our poetry in the format of a dialogue as we explore themes including cultural identity and diaspora, time, memory, magic, loss of innocence, the experience of illness, dying, and grief, and the relationship between nature and the human experience. Destiny. There was no love in the beginning, only airbrushed photos, biodata, resumes exchanged. Weeks later, our first meeting with family hovering, teacups of conversation, shy glances, then time alone, flight of stairs to the rooftop, the Indian night stretched over us. I saw you then for the first time, outlined in candlelight, graceful in sari, hands delicate in gesture, tides of discussion in the tug of moonlight, and we divined what flowed beneath the surface, fire, air, water, earth, to fuse two worlds. Neither of us in search of soulmate or romance, only blind trust in what was written in the stars. Marriages, after all, must be made in heaven. We awaited our wedding day to be showered with rice, flowers, blessings of Ganesha, knotted the auspicious thread, and together encircled the sacred fire 7 times. For eternity, to one another we now belonged. The universe found a way to bring us together within the same sliver of rainforest, parrots hovering over the canopy. And in what little light escapes the leafy sieve, I glimpsed your lime green feathers, heard the enchanting piccolo of your voice. Was this serendipity or destiny? Our children flutter around us. We course together through their blood, intertwined in every cell. In living this improbability of shared place, shared purpose, shared creation, we have learned to love. Diaspora. As a child, I wallowed in Georgia clay, lay on a bed of pine straw, watched clouds make their slow journeys, boats drifting between continents. India existed in picture books, temple pyramids, quilts of rice fields, jungles
Any guy in a job security here.
of perpetual.
Really, he told us.
One fruit yielding to the next, sugarcane, mango, pomegranate. Home was mustard seed spattering in hot oil, Ganesha dancing on a coffee table, Lakshmi gazing
So,
in the kitchen.
Erika is going to stay in Boston. Now you decide where
Bhagavad
you want to
Gita
go.
and Bible side by side.
Rico is going to stay in
My
Boston.
first trip to Chennai in the torpor of August, saturated with monsoon, the hordes, dissolving
He's
faces,
going to create a trouble here.
droplets, stream, river, flood, struggling to breathe, mother tongue lapping at my ears. I emerged uncertain where I
You
belonged,
decided.
where to call home, history rewritten, a child of the diaspora returning
Why?
to find what part of me they left behind.
Wait. You didn't know. I mean, you didn't decide whether to live in New York or not. He was in New York.
Hang on, Sarath.
No,
I'm
you
having
did not
trouble.
decide.
I'm trying to find where these people are, and I can't.
Can't you just mute everybody?
Maybe you better mute everyone.
I think you can mute everyone and then just let Sarath read.
Yeah, I lost the ability to find who's talking.
Well, now the chat's broken, so that's
Somebody
not a.
might be meddling with us.
That's possible.
You know what?
Maybe if you say, please mute, everybody mute.
I did.
I know, but now,
And I was listening. Even though
So sorry. This has not happened before. How do I mute everyone?
I think you better.
How do I do it?
it should have it in, when you go over to like the audio, it should give you as the host, did you give the host privileges to Sarath
No,
or Margot?
I
So
haven't.
you should be able to do it. I think it's in the audio. Mm,
Well,
It was someone with the name PAKAQ. That's where I saw it.
right.
Speak.
Well, it's stopped now. So let's continue.
Okay. Well, it's my turn now. And I'd like to say hello and thank you for coming to everyone who came. Independence, Taos, July 4th. We stand where other people stood for thousands of years, their houses rising from clay, the blue lake and the corn they held sacred, their unwritten language they called Tiwa, and they danced to the deer and the buffalo until we arrived. Fire rages in the north and we don't speak of it, don't even think fire, the way villagers in Auschwitz didn't think fire, though their gardens were covered in ash. We, the people, read the Declaration, each of us, one paragraph. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And we tell our stories. Everyone from somewhere else, Vienna, Dublin, Toronto, Mumbai, Taipei, and pride swells in us. How we came here for sanctuary, we came to be free until the last man speaks, says Senegal, says Mandinka. My people were taken, my people were kidnapped, came here as cargo, came here in chains. Before there were women, men knew nothing of the seasons of water. They did not bathe in the river nor catch rain in their mouths. Neither did they quarry, nor plant, nor build. They had no plans, wandered aimless as a line without a hook, until the god of forethought stole for them the wherewithal, all the fiery arts and comforts, rings and anklets of precious metal, goblets blown from molten glass, grills for their meats. And they took their pleasure and were not entangled in the weedy glen of longing. Then women made their entrance, fluttering in silk, herb-setted, and strapped men onto the rack of desire. And the one whose hair was twined with mimosa bore gifts, and she flung the box open and spread calamity, insanity, misery with no voice, the human inability to match effect with cause, the hopeless inconstancy of passion. and so delivered us our cursed narrative, the history of love.
In the presence of immortals. The earth seemed smaller then, a shelf of lonely planet guides, cities that boasted of past splendor, paths that forgot their intended purpose, monuments once resplendent, towering white. If only we could sift through detritus to recover our past. Beneath a cloak of dust, a picture that has languished on the bookcase next to Boccaccio and Dante awakens from its coma and speaks. We are embracing, reborn in the shadows of the Trevi fountain, stone deities arching above. We made our home in the open air of piazzas and cathedral naves, lingered in trattorias, sipping Chianti, translating the past into present tense. We wandered over cobblestone, discovering tumbled columns, cracked slabs swallowed by weeds and thicket, maps folded, unfolded, until somewhere we lost our way, turned our gaze upwards and danced among unfamiliar goddesses and gods in flickering light. We belonged to the world then. What goes around? I could not keep pace with grandfather's strides through ancestral fields that measure seasons, crop to crop, where as a child he whittled sugar cane, scaled mango trees, voices from his past like a swarm of mosquitoes. He makes the circular journey back to his childhood home, replastered facade gleaming, an ancient bougainvillea planted 2 generations ago, ablaze in fuchsia. His white poncha dampened with afternoon, hem bearing the stains of morning walks. He sits in prayer, cross-legged, chanting mantras, tossing marigolds onto a portrait of Lakshmi, rotating a silver plate piled high with bananas and guava over camphor-fueled flames. Grandmother pours herself into a grinding stone, rice churned into batter, spices sputtering in oil, wipes sweat away with her sari's fray. Their lives move like wheels of a bullock cart, a slow wobble in the wake of scooters and lorries, all racing nowhere, spewing clouds of exhaust. They belong to a different time, mornings, music of bleating sheep, lowing of cows, nightfall, Bollywood gyrates on a rabbit-eared television. They fall asleep on jute cots beneath the blur of fan blades, long for the slow spin of stars. Axis of the slow spin. Mother is stirring soup in one direction, under the spell of a shepherd moon. In her forearm shadow, an array of vials, coriander, saffron, mustard seed, grandmother's ashes tossed in pinches, dashes into the orbiting elixir. Boiling over the dining table, 3 generations of family drama plays out in nervous chatter. Knives against porcelain, meat separated from bone, tongues stained turmeric as recipes and gossip morph, mutate, take on a life of their own. Hovering in the ether of spice, the nebula of our ancestors smolder, flicker as we peer into the cast iron mouth of Krishna, glimpse the gyrations of creation and its aftermath.
Earthquake artists. The spirits of the dead were turned loose, wandering the hillsides, wandering the neighborhoods, loose and making trouble. Every spirit in need of a place to rest, where mourners can pour rum or coffee over a grave, have conversations. And so the earthquake artists, survivors, orphaned and widowed, very young, very old, have work to do, to gather pieces from the wreckage of buildings, from mausoleums crushed to rubble, from bones heaved up, from a doorway collapsed where a woman stood 1/2 step from living. And the artists build sculptures of the remains, crowd shantytown alleyways with images, encrust the walls. A blue family welded from car parts, a man carved from a truck tire, his plumbing pipe arms reaching out, a bleached skull mounted on a board, all painted, patinaed, joyful, accusatory, solemn, terrible, beautiful. The artists labor by day, labor by the light of the sparks from their tools, sharing paints, old matted brushes, one holding a metal scrap for another to fuse. And they labor for no money, no honor, the work urgent as water seeking a crack to flood. 300,000 spirits demanding a host. A small Caribbean island with a line from Auden. Dollar buses, names painted on the hood surfer style. Fear not, trust me. Picking up schoolgirls who squeal like sunshine reggae. Rastaman slanging verses Marley style, for Marley is and always. Instrumental clack of dominoes and a drummer's steel brushes hissing in the palms. Sudden rain on the metal roof like gunshots. In the bush, someone's preaching apocalypse. And everywhere the animals are rib-counting skinny. Lambs who wandered off, goats at the very end of their tethers. Stray dogs panting at our gate for any kitchen scraps. And under the car, a terrible grinding mounts the road so steep the concrete slabs shift tectonic. We walk down to the waterfront to buy barracuda steaks for the grill. How everything turns away quite leisurely from the disaster. Random music. Poetry's a risky inclination. Sentiment can smother all my lines when I let nostalgia take the place of beauty. So I ignore the bunnies on the planter full of pansies. The news only gives me novel ways to die. I go out to the marsh, search for random music. The opening of barnacles as the tide retreats. Study the parable of stars in the show. The curtain of dawn unfurling, barring this day of lonely sameness. Walk, write, cook, eat. Life's lonely sameness, cook, eat, write, walk. The curtain of dawn unfurling, bearing this day. Study the parable of stars in their dumb show, the opening of barnacles as the tide retreats. And out at the marsh, search for random music. The news gives you unconscionable ways to die. Ignore the bunnies on the planter full of pansies. Don't let nostalgia take the place of beauty, or sentiment will smother all your lines. Poetry's a risky inclination.
Absolutely gorgeous. Wow. Thank you, Margot.
Evolution. Within the confines of your crib you roam, a creature four-legged among baubles and bumpered walls. Then we released you, searched your mouth for what did not belong, pulled you away from the stair's edge. How could we make you understand you were the fragile one, hairless, unfused cranial shell, thin paper skin stretched over vertebral ridges, a world measured in 2 syllables, an arm's length orbit. Then the universe expanded and you discovered a tongue with dislikes and protests, that you were tethered only by gravity. Then we taught you the topography of our world with its sharp objects, changing signals, and other stairs. Not to stray from the curb as you ventured out in a vinyl slicker and galoshes, a spiny umbrella unable to defend against gusts of April rain, your neck arched to the sky, searching the thinner air. Evening news. The children have stripped the sofa bare, stacked velvet cushions into walls, stretched a roof of blankets like tarpaulin. Their fortress impenetrable, they huddle inside. A crayon sign declares, "No adults allowed." The television's flickering light shows me suffering. It is tomorrow somewhere. In Syria, another city rubbled. A man carries his daughter's limp body, stumbles on fractured concrete, mangled metal, their home a charred pyre. A dictator devours his own. Closer to home, bullets find their mark. In cinemas and synagogues, not even the holiest can shelter us from evil's curriculum vitae. Killing fields in Cambodia, rivers running red in Rwanda, Easter Sunday in Sri Lanka. My daughter appears in the doorway. I fumble to mute, advance the channel to safer ground. When will she see past my smiles graffitied over anguish? How long can I keep her away from windows where she stands on tiptoes, craning her neck to glimpse fires raging, left to burn themselves out?
Wow.
The lost children, sent away by their mothers with a little food, a school book, to walk 7 miles, 10 miles to the city, to the courtyard of the hospital, or crowded on a veranda under light, or sleeping rough. One boy under the shea butter tree, one boy among many under the millet covered with stalks. Children practicing camouflage so they won't be stolen, to be soldiers, to be porters and whores, and they sleep among the termites who make sandhills on their bodies until first light touches everything with gold. Pray for them. Oh, pray for Jean-Claude and Abdallah. Pray now for the hurricane boys who pick their way shoeless with a chew of sugar cane. Let them comfort and groom each other. Let them find a place safe tonight, safe from gangs who stone them, rob them. A doorway to hold 2 of them or 3. Space enough for the sticks of their limbs, one boy's back against the belly of another. Lay them down long and dreamless. Let them sleep. The constant stream. I watch the rally on the kitchen TV, screaming, untrammeled, news blaring through the ether. Interrupt paying bills to listen to the constant stream. People don't really want to blow each other up, my husband says, and goes out to mow the grass, weaving his way among the tupelos. Yes, they do, I say to myself, and pour a cup of coffee, wondering what I should hide from the barbarians. My daughter, I think, and her daughter, from ignorant mobs who think heaven awaits. If I were Muslim, I'd conceal my prayer rug, go about with my head bare. In winter, someone tromped a swastika in the snow behind the junior high. And just last week, at high school basketball, fans chanted, "You killed Jesus." Nerve jangled, I start to watch my own private Idaho with River Phoenix, one more gifted actor who thought he'd change the world, flamed out too young. I need to keep up with my usual consolations, make my Nana's Russian cabbage soup slow and savor every shred. Come to my table for good, sweet, and sour, the only certitude.
Mm.
After the diagnosis. Stethoscope draped over white coat, credentials nailed to egg-shell walls, babble borrowed from my tower of tomes, fly from the beehive of my mouth. Swarm in the chilled air, my patient's mind's dust bowls, future in and out of focus. And suddenly the lives they are riding come to a lurching halt, paralyzed in their tracks, refuse to move forward or trace their gallop back, canyon looming ahead. I sketch a bridge of hope, plan their itinerary to places they would never choose to go. Give them directions, as if I have taken that route myself, until their bodies abandon them. Moth-eaten leave, voices silenced, recede into shadows. After cancer, they can hear nothing else.
Mm.
Caged bird. My sister's collection of birds swarmed over the kitchen counter, perched on bookshelves, wings unfurled, pondering flight, a kaleidoscope of turquoise, chartreuse, vermilion, fashioned from plaster and porcelain. Toucans, parrots, plumed cockatiels hover in suspended animation, their music left to the imagination. Each told a story of a different chapter of her life, a honeymoon spent among cloned Caribbean islands, a Jamaican market where vendors cackled among rusty stalls, a manicured gift shop in the Florida Keys, and those journeys cut short by life's sudden squalls, the exotic salvaged, carefully packed in bubble wrap, carried back in a suitcase. Now she sinks into redundant bed sheets, the tussle of unsettled sleep. Her muscles thinned, skin draped over lattice of bone. Her chest a bowed cage, home to a lone raspy lung. A half-empty vial of oxycodone dampens the crescendo of pain. A plastic bin in the corner overflows with unopened bottles of nail polish. Outbursts of fuchsia and muffled pinks awaiting the right occasion. A fan turns its head from side to side, stirring the silence. No, the answer to every question asked and unasked. Two shrouded windows leave her oblivious to time. We tell her today is Easter. Had she peered through the curtains, she would have glimpsed a sky dyed the cruelest blue, morning air already warm against the glass, ringing with clarion of birdsong. Return to water. My sister knew that the day after her passing would be like a day after rain. How quickly earth forgets water and promises. Calendar turned to December dressed in white, naked dogwoods wrestling between snow-capped evergreens and in the fog of morphine. She was a child again in the freeze, refused mothers pleading to come inside until her mittened fingers were wooden. Always said she wanted to be buried, not burned, not the slow drip of melting wax, bone and body humble to ash. She could not bear her chemo complexion, too dark like Shiva, she said, of moonless nights. Never ventured too far, afraid of needles and poisons piped into her to buy a few extra weeks. And she envisioned sand, dotted with shells, palm trees dancing, ocean azure and intoxicating, a scene borrowed from a travel magazine on her nightstand. No longer would she gaze into the night sky to pick out planets from the dust. Our parents cradled her blue urn, adorned with the solitary dove at the ocean's edge, where it is always windy, scattering what they had created into the restless brine where life began.
Mm. Wow.
Coming up for air. She waits for him as if any minute he will knock at the door, apologies, excuses in full bloom, like the irises, dahlia, and tulips planted a dozen springs ago. His clothes still hang in the closet amid cologne cloud that hints of sandalwood, musk, and bergamot. She leaves his desk clutter undisturbed, lies in bed, a mannequin wrapped in sheets. Everything around her steel and sterile white, the world bleached of metaphor, suffocates under its weight. Sun, a flickering ember, moon drowning in oceans of dust, falling to earth slow and spiraling, the garden to remain untended, and the periwinkles that blossomed on the dress she wore last summer, withering amid vapors of naphthalene.
Mm.
To swim with dolphins. She wanted that all summer in the hospital. A pod of machines sounding her, pumping in, sucking out, her legs, faint ripples in the sheets. She loved to sail to the eye of the wind, close-hauled, taunting the riptide, rolling with any wave who'd have her, reduced to this puny adventure. I stare at the city turned cadmium orange and wish she'd leave like sunset, incendiary, streaks of fire, her wake.
Mm.
The rain of her dying. Sometimes I simply sat with her and rubbed her parchment feet. Dying was imperious, the hyperbole of it, the smell and utter quiet of it. I needed it to be finished. I wanted it to go on. Death stripped her legs and buttocks, ratcheted her down to bone. Winter milked her eyes over. Her beauty had been windblown with a constancy of pearls, a beach rose too thorny to hold. And like plants abandoned, she praised me and left me dry. Praise she let out, the way a cheesemaker starts with sweet, then sours and curdles it, love and reprimand mingled.
Mm. Mm.
The burqa, his eyes, the topaz of far hills, hers deep-welled and speaking, his hopeless, hers levantine, gleaming, his kindness remarkably embarrassed, his part in it, a candle, rice in a clay bowl, impossible the divide. Before the street starts snooping with its dangerous occupations, she slides from his bed, tiptoes over his uniform, sand gray as the village, his helmet, his body armor, and fallen from his cargo pockets, radio, cell phone, candies, flashlight, bullets, diary, pen, heaped on the floor like killing stones. She hurries into jeans, cotton shift, wraps a silk scarf shot with gold low on her forehead to cover every hair. She lifts the burqa and it settles over her head, its small threaded window, and floats down over her body, yards and yards of unassailable blue. On his desk, she leaves him a pomegranate. She thinks he is sleeping. From the bed, his hand darts out, fingers graze her ankle, the way even one breath might disturb the air. Sweetie, sweetie, dead, you aren't pretty, naked, ruined beneath the quilt, skin like laundry on a drying rack. Your eyes won't close, your cheeks concave. I can't talk about your breasts. Your belly's slumped, but your feet are alabaster, beautiful and strange, each toe a little plumped up pillow. Each of us greets you, dry, warm, unresisting, thin as a parachute, downed and settling slowly. We dampen napkins in a basin, stroke your arms, legs, rub your chest, pour tiny pools of oil into each other's palms, and crooning to you, shine your body. Part by part, we shroud you, bodice, bib for your throat, tunic, all ravel-edged, homespun, square. Tie the headpiece under your chin, cloak your swollen white hands, pull on the trousers, the bottoms sewn shut. 1, 2, 3, together lift the heavy sum of weightlessness. Oh, sweetie, sweetie, we are trembling, the closest we've ever been to you, and you aren't here.
Undertow. A family portrait clings to a wall, freshly painted to hide history. Choreographed embraces, smiles in unison, faux garden awash in artificial light. Beneath the gloss, ghosts of words hover over kitchen tile. An ocean reveals its moods, salvo in various stages of breaking, the swell, the crest falling into turbulence, wisps of white foam, the rapprochement, seeding, receding, surrendering to salt air sting, night, a salve for wounds. Tonight the surface of the Atlantic ripples gently, a mirror for moonlight. In swirling undertow, mollusk and piscine, emboldened by shell and scale, push back currents, escape the seaweed snag. At daybreak, the jagged coastline glistens with shards of brittle shells, abandoned where love once spread like a blanket. Hawk over Nantasket Beach. At first my eyes said, a kite, hovering 100 feet above, but there was no thread attached. No child anchored in sand, arms outstretched, countering the coastal gale. The hawk began its slow drift higher, scanned the ocean's silvery scales, drank the blueness of sky and sea, struggling for stillness, that unsettling paralysis of wings threading air, until they fluttered once again, embracing movement, the majestic hawk ascending, vanishing into glare as I continued on my walk, thankful for my timely glance skyward. Restless waves, reaching then falling back, and in their wake a stretch of glistening sand littered with shipwrecked shells, the serendipity of sea glass. A poet applies for a mortgage. I desire more than a roof of clouds, a floor of sod, to walk on burnished tile, polished pine, watch rain streaming down double-paned glass on evenings by the hearth aglow, a hardbound anthology of suffering teetering in one hand, the other clutching a glass of Merlot. A torrent of forms to fill my life on display in round numbers. Balances, liabilities, scores, statements, stubs, net worth appraised, compounding indebtedness to those I can never repay. All the love I have taken greater than what I have given. Am I worth the risk? They request a list of liquid assets, to which I reply that I am 70% water, and what does not evaporate will remain as the ash that feeds the apple orchard or collects as alluvium at the river's mouth, the silt that gathers into stone.
Hmm.
Water. Water flooding the streets, running off too soon. Too much of it for dikes and seawalls to hold back. We gamble against it. We gamble for it. We take our chances we won't drown. We take our chances we'll have enough. Water always has its way. Water we take for pleasure. Water we take for our lawn grass. We take it to wash ourselves cleaner than clean, poison it with waste. River dry, water scarce, water worry. Water Lord says, who can open up the head gate? Let the water course fill, and when on the clock, and how long? We murder for water. Water is gold. Night hisses its fast downpour. An island keeps its own rapt council. Sea grape reclaims the half-built hotels. Drop one sweet rotting bean of the rosary vine in the water, and it could kill the village. Sky turns brazen, a terrible radiance, and the undervoice cruel, complicit, nothing as it seems. Clouds take on the guise of substance. Like the monkeys, you are scratching for words, whether you speak or don't speak. No God gives a tinker's damn. You're in free fall, no toggle line, no landing marker. Which is heavier, a pound of potatoes or a pound of grief? Night hisses its fast downpour. turban your head in cloth, the color of squash blossoms. One could wrap a corpse in such cloth.
Mm.
Two donkeys in Doolin, Ireland.
Hmm.
As though one would die without touching the other, they bump and nuzzle nose to neck. Hundreds of years they've been here, torn away from a gritty homeland to bear twice their weight in gold, to guard the sheep against the fox, not suited to wet or soft terrain or leafy bush, danger of rain scald, mud fever. They need a roof or a raincoat belly strapped against squall. The fiber of furs and barley straw, a farrier to fettle their rotting hooves with pritchel and nipper and rasp. In slanted shyness, they rest their chins on the low wall between us, human as we are, in their hunger for care and company. Thank you.
Wow, just amazing. And this format really accentuates the multifaceted aspect of your work, both of you. Just so beautiful. So woven with both woe and joy. Um, just amazing. I would like to ask Sarath if it's okay for you to read the first two poems that you read tonight.
Sure, Sarath.
Thank you.
Mm.
Destiny. There was no love in the beginning, only airbrushed photos, biodata, resumes exchanged. Weeks later, our first meeting with family hovering, teacups of conversation, shy glances, then time alone, flights of stairs to the rooftop, the Indian night stretched over us. I saw you then for the first time outlined in candlelight, graceful in sari, hands delicate in gesture, tides of discussion in the tug of moonlight. And we divined what flowed beneath the surface, fire, air, water, earth, to fuse two worlds. Neither of us in search of soulmate or romance, only blind trust in what was written in the stars. Marriages, after all, must be made in heaven. We awaited our wedding day to be showered with rice, flowers, the blessings of Ganesha, nodded the auspicious threat, and together encircled the sacred fire 7 times for eternity. To one another we now belonged. The universe found a way to bring us together within the same sliver of rainforest, parrots hovering over the canopy. And in what little light escapes the leafy sieve, I glimpsed your lime green feathers, heard the enchanting piccolo of your voice. Was this serendipity or destiny? Our children flutter around us. We course together through their blood, intertwined in every cell. And in living this improbability of shared space, shared purpose, shared creation, we have learned to love.
Mhm.
Diaspora. As a child, I wallowed in Georgia clay, lay on a bed of pine straw, watched clouds make their slow journeys like boats drifting between continents. India existed in picture books, temple pyramids, quilts of rice fields, jungles. My parents' stories of perpetual harvest, one fruit yielding to the next, sugarcane, mango, pomegranate. Home was mustard seeds spattering in hot oil, Ganesha dancing on a coffee table, Lakshmi gazing from a kitchen calendar, Bhagavad Gita and Bible side by side. My first trip to Chennai in the torpor of August, saturated with monsoon. The hordes, dissolving faces, droplets, stream, river, flood, struggling to breathe, mother tongue lapping at my ears. I emerged uncertain where I belonged, where to call home. History rewritten, a child of the diaspora returning, what part of me they left behind.
You again, Sarath. That was really wonderful. There's such a rhythm to your work. It kind of reminds me of peristalsis, if you know what I mean.
Without the borborygmi.
Exactly. Yeah, I wasn't going to use that term that you taught me, but
Yeah.
I've also put in the chat a way to link to Margot's 2 books available on Amazon. And Sarath, I so look forward to your book when it finally gets published, which I'm sure it will. I want to mention that next month, first Friday, November 7th, we'll have Karen Sharp and Rex Arrowsmith. So looking forward to that. I'd like to invite a couple of more readers for their open mic. And our first up is Thomas DeFreitas. Let me find you in this long list. Are you there, Thomas? Well, we'll come back to Thomas. I see John Engstrom. Please welcome John.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, let me find you.
Okay.
Here we go.
My box is right next to Sarath's.
You're on.
Great. Thanks, Richard, and thanks to the 2 featured poets. That was really awesome and memorable. The piece I have here is an erasure poem. An erasure is basically a found text or document that you take it and mess with it so that it becomes something else. And it's based on a memo that everyone living in my building received from management about a pending internet shut off, that the building's internet was going to be shut down. And they were apologizing for that. And of course, it didn't happen. I mean, it was a completely bogus memorandum. But anyway, I thought I'd have some fun with it. This is called Memorandum on Pending Internet Shutoff and Erasure. Dear, well, you that the building is current fun. We understand system for secure communication. Please know that sly hour to assess and we their follow-up to is meantime patience, and we recognize inconvenience, or we sincerely apologize. Cause is down. We make to expected mobile in medical givers, or contact the directly to we with any as vendor and continue patience as we work. If you have any support, please reach out to us. Thank you, management.
Thank you, John. That was great.
My pleasure.
Please welcome Steve Nickman.
Oh, thanks, Richard. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. Okay. What gorgeous work tonight, Sarath and Margot. Just absolutely wonderful. This is called To Nicole Wallace of MSNBC. And just a word of background. Some of you may not remember Edward R. Murrow, who broadcast on CBS radio from London every night for years during World War II. And he concluded his broadcast by saying good night and good luck. So, to Nicole Wallace of MSNBC, it might be funny if it weren't so powerfully reassuring. The silence of all the generals at Quantico. The threats of their commander-in-chief at Quantico wouldn't be funny, even if we knew what they meant. It would be funny if it weren't so unprecedented, that unprecedented with all its 5 syllables now rolls so easily down our tongues, and we've almost mastered politicization. When I was 5, I was frightened of Hitler on the newsreels in a movie theater, his staccato anger, and Mussolini striding like an emperor in his trench coat. I was a child among refugees on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Piano lessons with Mr. Plotnikov. Mr. Neufeld, the Austrian, who carved me a wooden sheep. The Nuyorican. Feliz Navidad. The Jibaro sound of the hills. Oh, Nicole, you've become my Edward R. Murrow. Your smile, your elegant style, sustain me through dread. Good night and good luck.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I will close things out with a poem called My Genesis. Father takes me through the forest with his axe. He's good at chopping off his feelings. Mother helps me name the flowers. Purple dawn throat, meadow-footed pattern spreader, moonlit touch me not, firefly dreamweed. What to beware and what to admire. At first, there's just my brother and me, nearly killing each other over nothing. When I don't die, mother has another boy anyway. Father fells the tree while reciting his motto, action, not words. I have my way with words. They show me where to go, parting the grass at the edge to everything yet to be praised.
Lovely.
Well, thank you all so much. This has been really great. We have a few minutes to unpack what we've heard, to share our support and love for one another, and just chime right in.
Richard,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes.
I didn't sign up for the open mic, but I have a poem that, or a song actually, that if we had time, if I could read, that would be cool. If not, that's fine.
Yes, let me spotlight you.
Okay.
You're on.
Okay. Um, I had it. Okay. Sorry. I had it and it vanished one moment.
No problem.
Yeah. It's sort of, yeah, here it is. It's pertinent, and I'm on my laptop with basically none of my poems, but I have songs. And I wrote this song a number of years ago, and I think that it might be fairly pertinent today. It's called Darfur. So here we go. Have I been spared the pain of hunger? Have I been spared the wrath of war? When every night on my TV, I see Darfur, Darfur, Darfur. I'm sitting in my kitchen with a light on and a cup and all the comforts at my hand. I barely have to get up. And on this same plane I see today, half an earth not far away, children, men, and women are raped and killed today. Darfur, Darfur, Darfur. Tell me, what for? Is it a prize to stand and bicker and deliberate upon man's fate in the halls of justice, in the congresses of state, to tell one straight-faced to the next, we've got nothing here to hide, and in the backroom twist of business, we cement this genocide. Yeah, we sail our ship of justice so proudly and so free. And when we get down to pray at night, we must just go down on one knee. For if our hearts were truthful, and if our prayers were right, we couldn't watch these images on our TV screens tonight. Darfur, 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 tell me, what for? We foot the bill for football games and for football, we ring up the price of games, put on shows to beat the band, throw elaborate election campaigns, fill our bunkers with rockets, fill our bellies with beef. But when it comes to Darfur, we have nothing. We show nothing in the way of relief. Darfur, Darfur, Darfur. Tell me, what for? Have they been spared the pain of hunger? Have they been spared the wrath of war? In Darfur, 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 Darfur.
Thank you so much, John.
You're welcome.
Very, very appropriate. These times we're in have been lived before, or at least they rhyme. And you remind us that poetry and music are close cousins. You know, the lyric was meant to be sung originally. So thank you for that.
Welcome. Thank you, Richard. Thank you to featured poets as well, and everybody else too.
Well, go into this good night feeling strengthened and hopeful, even if it's just a thimble of hope, that could be enough to bring us through this dark time. Thank you, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.